So, when I was making my last video and ranking 5 horror films or making a list of 5 horror films to watch, I started thinking about what made Kantara feel so different from other films. I think Tumbbad also falls in this category, especially the last 10 to 15 minutes of Tumbbad. Same with Kantara, the last 10 to 15 minutes. They feel so different from a regular horror film, whether Bollywood or Hollywood. Most horror films just kind of make you feel scared and really scared that if something like this happens to us, what will we do? Or this kind of doom feeling, like doomer feeling of being attacked by an entity that you can't in any way seemingly attack or hurt or even defend yourself from. Like a ghost can go through walls and can not be visible and all these things and has supernatural abilities, and that scares us. But what if a ghost possessed a loved one and it wasn't even like a malicious ghost? Like it's not like malicious spirit, but a spirit that's trying to do a job, that's trying to protect its people. And like in some certain sense you can see that it's benevolent and it's divine and it's higher power, but its interaction with human being is inherently destructive. I mean, that kind of an emotional response of like seeing a man fight with the sea itself, like it's like such a natural force that even just that, like not even trying to hurt us, it will completely fucking kill us. It will completely obliterate a human being. So scary about Kantara and Tumbbad, and that's what's so emotional about it. Like the last 15 minutes of Kantara, when the main character's family, Shiva's family, is all around him and crying because they already know what's going on and they know what's happening. And that's so scary, that feeling, because in certain ways that's relatable to us, and we have felt that emotion, not to that extent and not with those facts and circumstances, but in our own lives, in our own little ways, we have felt that. We have seen someone go through that, or in that inescapable fate, which in some, like you can't even say that that's just like bad. That's not just an evil thing that's happening, because your mind can block that. When you see something evil, we have formed calluses around that to the point when something evil happens, we just sympathize for the person who was a victim and move on. But when something like this happens, where it's like a truly divine power in its complete and unfiltered presence and unfiltered existence, like the very fact that it exists will destroy us completely. And that's what happens with Shiva's character, because the deity, when it possesses him, and I'm sorry for forgetting all these names, and that's why I'm not mentioning any names because I don't want to get them wrong, but when it possesses the main character's body, it's not really trying to hurt him. That's not the point. That's not why it's possessing him. Unlike The Conjuring or some other horror film, it's not there because it hates the main character. It's trying to protect the land of its people, and that is like a divine and noble intention, because we know the main character and we know that his fate is already sealed and he's probably dead by then, and that's when the deity possesses him. You know what's going to happen. You can't even avoid it. It's like a car crash in that sense. Like you know what's going to happen, but you still can't look away from it, and you can't escape that. But that justice costs the victim their lives too. So it's this very deep sense of dread, and that film didn't scare me in the same way that The Conjuring would, because The Conjuring is also a scary movie, but this film left an impact deep within. Same with Tumbbad. Tumbbad was so impactful when the father gives up his life and basically sacrifices himself, and maybe something new can happen in the second sequel that's being announced, but still, at least in that film alone, standalone film, when he gives the pouch to his son and he rejects it, that's so raw. Like a father who has been shown as this bad character in that film suddenly shows his fatherly love and does anything and everything for his son, to protect his son. Like when he jumps in front of Hastar while rubbing himself in that flour like atta thing, and that's so crazy. And that's why I think these films are so impactful and hypnotic and so iconic. Like when I hear Kantara's music, I get goosebumps every time. Same with Tumbbad. Like I see any motif of Tumbbad around, or I see that scene of Hastar. It's done so meticulously well, and both of these films could have been like very poorly executed because the story in itself is so damn good that I bet these films would still feel good. But the execution is so artful, it's so like impactful, and just like held back in the right places.